Hi, this is Prasad. Earlier, I made a podcast on the 7th August crash of Air India Express in Calicut. This is part 2 of it. Part 1 was made and uploaded to my YouTube channel within few hours of the crash. The info available then was minimum. As more info is available now, I decided to make part 2 of it. Still, we do not have all the details. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau is investigating the accident. The exact reason for the crash will be revealed only when they publish their report. I tried to cover most of the contributing factors which attribute in this type of accidents. The flight recorders will reveal all the details. This is Dubai, Friday, 7th August 2020. Let's go to Dubai International Airport. Air India Express IX1344 is getting ready to fly to Calicut with repatriation passengers. Air India Express to Calicut with 190 people is taking off from Dubai. Let's go to Calicut Airport. Airport area is experiencing thunderstorms with embedded heavy rain. Relatives and friends of the passengers are anxiously waiting for the Air India Express Dubai flight to land. Air India Express IX1344 arrives over Calicut coast. Aeroplane is cleared to land on runway number 28, that is from the east end. The aeroplane is battered by the severe turbulence. Aeroplane is flying parallel to the runway to approach runway number 28. Continuing to a point where aeroplane can take a turn to align with the runway. Pilots could not stabilize the approach due to the very adverse weather conditions. Due to heavy rain, the visibility is poor. Another factor is the gusty winds. The winds will be erratic on tabletop runway surrounded by mountains. Calicut Airport is equipped with Instrument Landing System Category 1. In Category 1, pilot should be able to see the runway or runway lights at the decision height. If not, the pilot should perform a go-around. Decision height in this case is 200 feet. The pilots perform a go-around. Pilots request permission to land from the western end of the runway, that is number 10. To land with a high tailwind on a slippery tabletop runway in a stormy weather was definitely a wrong decision. Aeroplane takes a turn over the sea to approach again. Now the aeroplane approaches the runway number 10 with a high tailwind. Aeroplane could not touch down on the touchdown zone. Touchdown was made in front of taxiway Charlie, which is about 900 meters down the 2,850 long runway, losing one-third of the runway. The aeroplane continued to roll down the runway. On a dry runway, pilots could have stopped the aeroplane with the available runway. It's not clear whether the deceleration device is malfunctioned or was not operated timely. Aeroplane slides down, nose hits the ground and broke into three. No section moves forward and hits the wall and mangled. Thus both the pilots lost their life. The survivability of a runway excursion depends on the energy of the aircraft as it leaves the runway surface and any obstacle it will encounter before coming to a stop. As the aircraft impact force was not very severe, there was no fire or explosion, which saved the life of most of the passengers. Let us see the possible factors led to the crash. The accident involved is an Air India Express Boeing 737-800 aircraft registered as VTAXH, which had a total of 190 people on board. The southwest monsoon was in full fury when the aircraft left India for Dubai and arrived back in Calicut with repatriated passengers. India's meteorological department had issued a red alert for heavy rains and gusty winds for some districts in Kerala, including Calicut, for 7th August 2020. Here you can see the satellite image of the area at the time of the crash. In Calicut, the runway number 28 was the active runway. A playback on the Flight Radar 24 website shows that the first attempt to land the aircraft on runway number 28 was aborted and a go-around was performed. It seems that the pilot could not sight the runway in the first attempt. Heavy rain and windy conditions reduced the visibility at the time of landing to 2000 meters, though this value is doubtful. Flight crew should have diverted the aircraft to Coimbatore Airport, which is only 140 kilometers and is just across the Western Ghats, and the monsoon will be normally mild due to the shadowing effect of the Western Ghats. Other nearby airports include Kannur and Cochin. The crew decides to land from the other end of the runway number 10 with a high tailwind. In a stormy condition with high tailwind can lead to an unstabilized approach and can increase the risk of a runway excursion. It seems that the aircraft was higher than the normal threshold crossing height of 50 feet and flying significantly faster than the landing reference speed at the threshold crossing point. An extended flare may be used to bleed off the airspeed prior to the touchdown, but can significantly reduce the available runway length for landing. When landing with a tailwind on a wet runway, a fully stabilized approach and a firm touchdown within the touchdown zone is essential. If either is not achieved, a go-around is appropriate. In Calicut, it is learned that the aircraft touchdown was near the taxiway Charlie, which is approximately 900 meters from the beginning of the runway number 10. See the aircraft's height above the runway threshold. Normal height is 50 feet, but the actual height of the aircraft is much higher. The speed of the aircraft also must have been higher than the target speed of approximately 140 to 144 knots. Aircraft touchdown was near the taxiway Charlie, that is around 900 meters from the beginning of the runway number 10. Even if all the deceleration systems are used promptly from here, to stop the aircraft before the end of the runway becomes very difficult when the runway is wet and slippery. Aircraft crosses the runway threshold lights, runway end safety area, crashes into the localizer array and goes down. When the pilots could touch down only near the taxiway Charlie, the ideal option could have been to go around again. Crew knew about the thunderstorm battering over North Kerala. We do not know whether the crew had planned the approach, landing, and the options available to them in case of a diversion is required. We do not know whether the Calicut ATC gave the correct information about the prevailing situation, about the weather and the runway conditions. Successful and safe landings are closely linked to the pilot ensuring that a stabilized approach is flown, means that a sink rate is not more than 1000 feet per minute. Only a small changes in heading pitch are necessary to maintain the correct flight path, proper power settings. ILS must be flown within 1 dot of the glide slope and localizer. It was better to avoid landing on a stormy day with a significant tailwind on a tabletop and slippery runway. It was speculated that at the end of the landing roll, pilot tried to go around, From the photos of the crash, it is more or less clear that it was not the case. Flaps are fully deployed, and in the case of a go-around, it would not have been the position. Flaps can be seen as fully extended. There was no distress call from the cockpit to the ATC prior to the crash landing. In the evening of the fateful day, Kerala state was experiencing thunderstorms with embedded heavy rain. Weather.com meteorologist Jonathan Bells said that the rainfall rates of 1 to 3 inches per hour fell in Kerala state at that time. When close to the ground, the wind can change suddenly on a tabletop runway surrounded by mountains in gusty conditions. Monitoring of airspeed closely is crucial to avoid runway overrun. On modern aircraft, there are mainly 3 types of deceleration systems. They are ground spoilers, wheel brakes, and thrust reversers. Ground spoilers. Ground spoilers are fitted on top of the wings, which extends during landing. It dumps the lift created by the wings and makes the wheel brakes efficient. It slows down the aircraft during landing by creating aerodynamic drag. While landing, if the spoiler control lever in the cockpit is in the arm position, all spoilers automatically extends when it receives the weight on wheel signal and both the throttles are in idle position. If the pilot did not position the control lever in arm position before landing, spoilers can be manually deployed after landing, but precious time will be lost. If the speed brake lever is in arm position and when other conditions are met, all spoilers are going to deploy. Speed brake lever is in arm position. Weight on wheel signals are available now and both throttles are in idle. Lever can be seen automatically moving to up position and all spoilers are getting deployed. Thrust reverser operation. Thrust reverser can be selected when the radio altimeter reads less than 10 feet or the weight on wheel senses the aircraft main wheels touch down. Throttle quadrant. Thrust reverser is selected using the thrust reverser lever which is installed on the throttle quadrant. Each engine on Boeing 737-800 is equipped with hydraulically operated thrust reversers. When commanded on landing, the thrust reverser sleeve moves aft. Normal airflow is blocked by the blocker doors and deflect the fan discharge air forward to produce reverse thrust. Throttle lever is being moved from the idle to full engine power and back. Thrust reverser lever is being moved from the store to deploy and to full engine power. Thrust reverser lever can be moved only when the throttle lever is in idle. Air India Express is landing on runway number 10. Weight on wheel signal is available for thrust reverser operation. Lever is moved to deploy detent. Normal engine airflow towards rear is blocked and is directed forward to get reverse thrust. Now the lever is moved further up to get full engine thrust. When the aircraft speed is reduced, lever is moved to stop position. Wheel brakes. Main landing gear wheels have disc brakes with anti-skid system. Nose landing gear is provided with the nose wheel steering system and has no brakes. This is the auto brake and anti-skid control panel. Auto brake will engage upon landing when the following conditions are met. The appropriate setting on the auto brake selector knob is set. The throttle levers are in idle position and the main landing gear wheels spin up. The pressure applied to the auto brake and the applicable deceleration is as per the settings. Anti-skid protection is provided in the brake systems to each main gear wheel. When the system detects a skid, the associated anti-skid valve reduces the brake pressure on the affected wheel until the skidding stops. If auto brake is not selected, rudder pedal top section is used to apply brakes manually. If auto brake is selected and during landing if pilot feels the deceleration rate is not sufficient, pressing the top of the pedal will disengage the auto brake system. During landing, the directional control is achieved by moving the rudder by pushing the rudder section of the pedals. During landing, it becomes difficult for the pilot to take care of both actions together, and it is ideal to use the auto brake, especially when the landing environment is not ideal. Hydroplaning or aquaplaning. Prima facie, it seems that one of the main reasons for the crash is due to hydroplaning. It reduces the friction between the tires of the aircraft and the wet runway. Hydroplaning is relatively a high-speed phenomenon that occurs when there is a film of water on the runway that is at least 1/10 of an inch deep. As the speed of the aircraft and the depth of the water increase, the water layer builds up, increasing the resistance to displacement, resulting in the formation of a wedge of water beneath the tires. At some speed, termed as the hydroplaning speed, the water pressure equals the weight of the aircraft and the tire is lifted off the runway surface. In this condition, the tires no longer contribute to the braking action and directional control. Weight of the aircraft is fully on the runway now. Coefficient of friction between the runway surface and the tire is maximum. It started raining and the water builds up on the runway surface. At a critical speed, the water cannot be removed fast enough and the tire will be completely lifted from the surface. Main wheel braking effectiveness and the nose wheel steering are reduced in aquaplaning conditions. These are the damaged tires of a Singapore Airlines flight SIA 236 which involved in a skidding accident. A runway excursion is veer off or overrun from the runway surface. These surface events occur while the aircraft is taking off or landing and involve many factors ranging from the unstable approaches to the condition of the runway. It is important to note that all parties like pilots, air traffic controllers, airport authorities, etc. are involved in a RE incident. After reviewing all areas of runway safety over the past 14 years, Runway Safety Initiative Members Group focused on runway excursions as they discovered that 97% of runway accidents are caused by excursions. They also found that over the past 14 years, there had been almost 30 excursions per year for commercial aircraft, that is 25% of all accidents. These are some of the runway excursion incidents. Runway end safety area is one of the methods recommended by ICAO to reduce the damages to an aircraft and avoid fatalities in case of a runway overrun. It shall extend from both ends of the runway strip to a distance of at least 90 meters. 90 meters is minimum and 240 meters is recommended. For blast erosion protection, 30 meters prior to the threshold to be provided. Reserve width shall be at least twice the runway width. Calicut Airport is provided with RESA on both the ends of the runway. During runway overrun of Air India Express, the aeroplane passed through RESA. If the new system called EMAS was in place, it could have arrested the aeroplane and prevented it moving down the runway. Air India Express is passing through the RESA and crashing. In Calicut, the concreted RESA seems to be constructed on top of an uneven surface without leveling the soil surface, which was eroded by the jet blast. A concreted RESA will not arrest an overrun aircraft. A similar tabletop runway like the Mangalore is provided with sand-filled RESA, which will be better and can arrest and overrun aircraft to some extent if maintained properly. Here you can see the sand-filled Mangalore runway RESA. Sand-filled RESA of Mangalore runway. It was not maintained properly as shrubs can be seen growing and landing lights can be seen protruding out. Regular plowing can maintain the surface properly and prevent the growth of shrubs. This is mentioned in the investigation report of Air India Express Mangalore crash happened on 22nd May 2010. ICAO Annex 14 stipulates the requirement for a proper runway strip and the runway end safety areas. ICAO describes RESA as an area symmetrical about the extended runway center line and adjacent to the end of the strip, primarily to intend to reduce the risk of damage to an aircraft undershooting or overrunning the runway. RESA only provides a clear area of extension to the existing runway without any equipments placed there. It cannot arrest the overshooting aircraft. Answer to it is the installation of Engineering Material Arresting System or EMAS, which is developed later. Engineering Materials Arresting System or EMAS. EMAS is an arresting system which is predictable and effective in overruns. One such design is based on the use of engineered materials that can crush under the weight of an aeroplane, thereby absorbing its energy. This type of system is already implemented at many airports all over the world. EMAS was designed to stop the aircraft at an exit speed of 70 knots. These are the three views of a typical EMAS system. EMAS special concrete blocks are being laid. This is an airport runway with EMAS installed. Let's see how EMAS can prevent major damages to the aeroplane and saving the lives of people. These are the images of different aircraft overrun the runway and the EMAS special concrete blocks crushes under the aircraft's weight and absorb the energy and stop the aircraft. Another matter of concern is the depositing of rubber from the aircraft tires on the runway surface, which can aggravate the slippery condition in heavy rain. Runway deposits need to be removed regularly using machines. Properly constructed runways with the proper slopes will prevent water logging on runway surface. Grooved runway surface is another solution to prevent slippery runway, but cannot prevent the slippery conditions fully if the rain is very heavy. Rubber deposit on runway surface. Cleaning runway rubber deposits using machine. Grooves on the runway surface can be seen here. A grooved runway. Following are the possible reasons for the crash. Unstabilized approach. Go around was not conducted when the situation demanded it. Long touchdown, runway contamination, tailwind, gusts and turbulence, aircraft deceleration devices not timely operated or malfunctioned, ATC who knew about the runway conditions failed to convey the actual situation to the pilots. The Aircraft Accident Investigation Bureau during the investigation is expected to look into the following matters also in order to improve the aviation safety standards in this country. Whether the Calicut Airport runway and RESA are constructed and operated as per ICAO Annex 14 with a special attention to fast water drainage. Operators' policy should dictate a go-around if the approach is not stabilized, and it should not be followed by procedural embarrassment to the pilots. Flight crew should be given accurate, useful and timely runway conditions by the authorities. On a tabletop runways, EMAS should be compulsorily installed even though it is expensive to construct and maintain. The life of passengers are priceless. Aircraft should not be dispatched with anti-skid, spoilers, thrust reversers inoperative to a slippery and tabletop runway airports. DGCA should consider random check of CVR to check that all standard operating procedures like checklists are done, sterilite cockpit rule is followed, etc. In the investigation of Mangalore crash of Air India Express in 2010, the pilot in command was found sleeping in the cruise phase of the flight, and his heavy breathing and snoring was recorded in the CVR. Whether Calicut Airport's approach lights and runway lights are as per ICAO Annex 14 standards, which says that a precision approach ILS Category 1 lighting system should have a row of extended centerline lights up to 900 meters from the threshold and crossbar lights up to 300 meters. Runway surface friction should be measured periodically. Runway rubber deposits are cleaned frequently.